And this is the way that you are going to add sensor data. Here did you validate, verify whether this whatever the values that you are going to enter is that in the correct proper range. Sometimes you may enter minus values. Did you consider those aspects, especially when you are going to validate these things? No. So those validations should be there, right? So now here sensor, once you assign to a particular field, no need to re-enter the field name here. That should be a selection. Drop down, through a drop down you can select the what is the field name, right? From that selection, here whatever the soil moisture and whatever the data that you are going to, it is not actually. Now what did you do here? Sensor data you fetch from the sensors. Don't enter through UI. Understood? Sensor is for what? Sensor basically collect the data from the environment, right? And it will give some kind of outcome, whatever sensor output to your system. You are not going to enter the soil moisture, soil temperature here manually. You should, sensor automatically should read the data through your system. Not user is going to watch the sensor and enter data through manually through the system. Understood?
Farmer should enter the sensor details manually.
Yeah,
then
sensor details should be entered manually. That means what is the sensor ID, what is the sensor name, to which field that you are going to assign the sensor. But sensor is going to read the soil acidity level, air temperature level. Now sensor should send that their data through a signal or something to the system. Then system should display here. Understood? You can add manually as well, but now when you are going to use this system, it's no point at the end, right? So it's better to get the data through a sensor directly and display, not adding. So for that you have to select what is the sensor there, right? Select the sensor. Once you select the sensor, automatically it will display what is the fields and stuff that sensor is working. How about the sensor's historical outcomes? You should be able to see yesterday and the 1 week before, 1 month ago. How about the humidity changed? How about the is there any fluctuation in between this acidity, temperature and humidity, and there are some those things you should display like a dashboard or something. Now here there is no any dashboard or something. Those things you have to add for the system include. Sometimes the people who gave in the previous design documents they didn't mention. So what you can do is you can suggest new things and new sequence diagrams in the critical reflection report. You can simply mention all these things, and at the end you have to show us that those things for the system. Understood? That's why they gave there's a part like for the critical reflection report. What are the things you added and modified in the unit? Did you modify this UML?
yeah, one sequence diagram.
One sequence diagram. Let's see it later. Right? Did you add Java use of Java documentation?
Yes.
Can you show us that? This is the generated Java documentation, right? Okay, generated. All these methods, click this one, whatever the one method farmer or something, and show me how about the description and stuff. Did you use any version control or something? GitHub. Did you use any design patterns for this?
Yes.
What are the design patterns?
Strategy and singleton.
Singleton and strategy. Two design patterns, right? Can you explain it through the source code? Singleton first. Let's see.
Serialization and
Why did you use singleton for the serialization? Is bit system specific thing, not for that functionality specific. Didn't you think singleton for adding sensors or whatever the other
For login. We use login.
login function? Okay. Strategy pattern. How did you implement strategy?
For sensors.
What's the purpose of having strategy?
Because there are type of sensors.
Yeah, explain what are the other
There are
questions.
different behaviors in
Different
those
sensors.
different sensors. So we think to go with the strategy pattern.
Show me what are the other classes, how you did it.
This is the interface,
Okay.
and these are the sensors.
Why did you again this throw new ones up? Why didn't you add any method level comment for this?
We use method level comment for classes.
We didn't.
So you have to add method level comments for the whole classes, right? All methods before starting. Okay. Now you can use singleton for there, right? Go up in the previous code. Go up here. Sensor data SD equal new sensor data. Collect readings. For each and every collect readings, you can have now. You can have one singleton method for this, right? Whatever the sensor data and something. One place you could implement singleton. Why didn't you? And here don't use underscore for the classes. It's fine, but for you can use camel place, right? The noun should be there. So other things should be now. Don't use underscore in between. Sensor data in the sense sensor D should be uppercase data or something like that. Should be in that manner. Okay. What are other things? Strategy pattern. How did what are the
We
other
use this strategy. Then
We execute the strategic pattern using this what cells.
Okay.
We get those values, assign max, min value, max value, and calculate and median value, and we check those values and display whether the service, watering service or fertilizer service is inactive or active.
Go up. So this is not the proper way of doing strategy. Why did you use this much of my code? Don't use SMSAST, ATL. You should use proper meaningful names, right? Otherwise, you have to improve a lot. Standards, coding and standards you have to improve, right? And don't use this much of internal parameters. You are going to assign these details, assign value, sm.assign value, you are going to assign soil moisture min. Then where are you going to use this soil moisture min max things?
To check.
You can simply separate it out in different methods. Fetch data, min max details from there, and all these things in one method. What will happen? Poor design, right? You can split only necessary functionality for one necessary method, right? And here also it's you have to improve a lot, like this much of conditions. So what will happen, the psychromatic complexity of these conditions and stuff, right? So don't use this much of conditions are fine, but you have to think about strategies basically doing for what they reduce this. Yeah. Okay. So Unit test cases. Did you implement unit test cases?
Yes.
How many tests suite did you implement? Show me one test suite.
5. There are 5, but one.
Okay.
This is one test suite.
Mm.
There are 5 test cases in that test suite. Calculate medium test case, add sensitive data, assign max value, assign mean value, and negative.
Show me the one test case class.
Here, calculate mean value, medium test case. Here we check that value is
You assert it. Within one test case, you have to have multiple test classes, test methods. Understand? Which one?
Negative test. We have one positive test case and negative test case.
You can even use multiple test cases, multiple positive test cases. Who implemented which test suite?
I implemented field station. At field station test.
You, what did you?
Sensor.
Sensor. How about you?
Field.
And
Field.
And field.
test suite.
So here also what you can do is all field specific test cases should be there in the one test case class. Add field, update field specific details, what are other functionalities that you are going to perform for the field, all these things you can aggregate into one test case, right? And you can put it there. Then there may have like something related to sensor. All sensor specific test cases that you are going to perform, user is going to perform in order through a UI, that you can put it in a one test case class, right? Something like that. You have to do it. Right? Okay. User acceptance testing. How did you do it?
We did it in a summative way. That means we give feedback form to the user and get the
Why
feedback.
did you use summative?
Because after finishing system, we think that we can get more feedback by developing the system rather than by developing the system. So we create a feedback and get collected data and
Can
finally
you show us that particular things?
it is in the document. This is the feedback form and this is the final result, that means statical representation, feedback static, and above feedback static data obtained from real users, that means 5 members who are not in the assignment team. And if you look at the ethical consideration while taking this result, taking details, we are not represent the details of the user. That means in the test specification we use user 1, user 2 rather than using their real names.
Okay. You consider about the ethical consideration, right? How did your evaluation plan? What did you use for this evaluation?
For
You
the,
gave questionnaire, ne?
yeah,
In addition, okay.
for the evaluation there are 3 evaluating designs. Out of those 3 we use heuristic evaluation. Mainly in a heuristic evaluation there are 10 principles. In our system also match between system and the real world. That means our topic is agriculture based sensor system and we use images in the interfaces like the real world. And in the error prevention we use confirmation message as well as if the email is incorrect we use invalid email error message. And in the recognition rather than recall, we use some equations, and also we use raw filter feature where user no need to memorize the values. And if you look at the help users recognize, diagnose and recover from errors, errors are in simple and plain language. And flexibility and effectiveness, we use table model rather than using blocks of text.
How many people should be there in the heuristic evaluation for the group? Did you think about who are going to do this evaluation? Domain experts or somebody else?
Yeah, domain. That means farmers.
Those are users, right? And heuristic, you have to have separate group of members, right? At the end, how did you correct the evaluation outcome and readjust your system?
There are redesign suggestions also.
What sort of redesign suggestions were given and how did you implement those things?
These are redesign suggestions. They suggested combo boxes rather than using text field, and also since this is used for web application, suggested to use a shortcut like this. And when they ask to display help messages which will attract the user, and this will helpful for users who has no idea to what is doing, and for users attraction suggested to use sticky messages likewise. So in the test specification, we develop mobile application, but we think only the size of the mobile application. In mobile application, out of 3 predictive models, we use fixed law. Fixed law is especially useful for mobile devices, and fixed law says that if target is bigger, user can easily reach to the target, and this is the fixed law equation, where T is the time to move the pointer to a target, and D is the distance, S is the size, and K is the constant, where approximately 200 milliseconds per bit. And these are the test specifications and mobile application interfaces and substituted value for the equation. And the next part is critical reflection.
What are the things you modify?
We and sequence diagram.
Okay.
This is
Modified.
Why did you modify it? There any reason or something?
Yeah, we consider water service in this automated water service. Suggested designs have water service in there, so we assume that water service is also there in this system. Yeah, fertilizer.
That's okay. Fine.